Alright, let's see if we can't find a stream. Hopefully it isn't too far away. That one. Alright, stream's up. Audio is working as it should. Stream's up, chat's up, we're all good to go. That is absolutely fantastic. When the screen cuts to black, I'll get started with the introduction for this stream. Hello everyone and welcome to round 10 of the Pacific Tier 1 Championship here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Everingham, your commentator for this event, and tonight we'll be racing at Silverstone Circuit, home of the British Grand Prix, hosting the first ever official round of the Formula 1 World Championship all the way back in the year of 1950. Silverstone has evolved tremendously over the years. What was initially a RAF airfield used during the Second World War has become not only one of the premier racetracks of Europe, but one of the greatest racetracks in the world. The layout on which we race on today was created in 2011 and measures up at 5.89 kilometers and consists of 18 corners and 2 DRS zones that lead into the prime overtaking spots of Brooklands and Stowe. Outside of these areas, the drivers will find it difficult to overtake, as this circuit is quite notorious for creating DRS trains. When those long trains start to form, it's almost impossible for any driver to make their way through them. This means qualifying will prove to be incredibly important for achieving victory today. As a result, a car setup will prove to be more than an important factor for extracting lap time. It's an obvious thing to say, I know, but here at Silverstone, the track requires the driver to strike a balance between downforce and low drag. There are several high-speed corners around the racetrack that require a lot of downforce. Corners such as Abbey, Turn 1, Turn 2, the infamous Turn 9 of Cops Corner, and of course the equally infamous Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel S's. But there are also several long straights that require low drag. So those slight differences and those slight changes in wing angle, ride height and tyre pressure could make all the difference when it comes to getting lap time in qualifying, or giving greater opportunities to the driver to make overtakes during the race. Now, before we focus on this here qualifying session, there is a bit of news to go through first from last week's race, or rather, the previous race in Australia 2 weeks ago. Of course, we're coming out of the week break that we had for the real-life Australian Grand Prix, and thankfully enough, heading out of the weekend that we had, there weren't any incident reports. As a result, the final finishing positions remain completely unchanged. In the Drivers' Championship, it's Big Al who was leading the way on 183 points, followed by Seb, who is absent for today's race. He's on 132, 51 points behind Big Al. With Seb's absence, well, Big Al is just going to drive away. He's going to build up his points margin heading out of this round, I would think. Al has been a pretty capable of driver in the past few rounds that we've had. And equally, we've had the Pacific Elite round of the championship here at Silverstone, where Al was actually part of the event. He was going to win the race if it weren't for a time penalty that he actually got towards the end of the Grand Prix. Destiel is third on 127 points, 5 points behind Seb. Behind him is GeForce Ford on 123. GeForce Leo on 114, followed by Spicy on 110. F1 Ferrari Pro is P7 on 100 points, followed by Plebs on 97, GeForce Wogboy on 73, then GeForce Crichton on 68 points. Now, in the Constructors, Red Bull Racing are leading the way on 246 points. Ferrari are just behind on 223. Just 23 points separating the top two in the Constructors. Ferrari, they stand a real shot, especially with Ferrari Pro and Ford as their pilots. And with Seb missing for this round, Yeah, I'm not sure if Red Bull will hang on to the championship lead after Silverstone, especially if Ferrari Pro and Ford have a good race. They do have Kong as a substitute filling in, but his points will not be counted in the championship table. In third are Alfa Romeo. They're not too far behind either. They're 10 points behind Ferrari on 213. Behind them is Alpine on 159, followed by Haas on 147. Mercedes are next on 141. Then McLaren on 140, just 1 point behind. Then we have AlphaTauri on 108, Aston Martin on 104, and Williams at the bottom of the table on 46 points. But that's pretty much it in terms of news. We can now focus on this qualifying session as Mr. Kong here is about to come to the end of a flying lap, making his way through the Vale chicane and up towards Club Corner, back onto the Hamilton Straight. The benchmark time is a 1 minute 27.403. We'll see what the rest of the field can do. Darren 11 making his way through Brooklands. Wogboy heading up towards Stowe, probably the second best overtaking spot on the whole circuit. Towards the Vale chicane, he'll get on the brakes, down to 4th gear, then back on the accelerator. 5th gear on the exit of turn 17, around the final corner of 18, up towards the line, and he misses out on taking provisional pole by 0.03 of a second. Now, I have been informed that this driver here, who has the name Authenticated Trade Ban, this is actually Potsy from the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, who did actually perform quite well, but I don't know why his name has been changed. Some sort of Steam thing. I'm sure somebody on PC could explain that to me. Sire Luke making his way out of Luffield. Are you on a push lap, sir? You do seem to be making his way down the old pit straight on the previous layout of this circuit, pre-2010. Then through Cobb's Corners, Destiel jumps to the top with a 26.713. Through the infamous Maggots and Beckett's S's here. Through turn 13, the right-hander, then turn 14 of Chapel onto the Hangar Straight. Straight line blast up towards Stowe Corner. Speaking of which, his teammate Sergio Plaves, and that's the only time I'm going to say that, that's Plaves, which has renamed himself. We might ride on board with the Alpine driver and give you a tour of this 5.9 kilometre racetrack. Out to the Vale chicane and up towards Club Corner. Sending it round absolutely flat onto the Hamilton Straight to begin the flying lap. Shifting it into top gear, heading up towards Abbey, turn 1. Clipping the apex well, now through the left-hander of turn 2, up towards the Village Hairpin, turn 3. Down to 4th gear, keeping it in 4th for turn 4 as well, around the loop. Then up towards turn 5, entry, absolutely flat out, through the left-hander and onto the Wellington Straight. Now towards Brooklands, turn 6, probably the best overtaking spot on the circuit, down to 5th gear, modulating the throttle and the brake there through the corner. Around Luffield, turn 7, short shifting up to 5th gear. Tidy exit there, using all of the curb. Around Woodcote, turn 8, onto the old pit straight. Now turn 9, Cops Corner, 7th gear, chuck it in hard. Cuts a bit too much though, and that's an invalidated run for Plebs. Big Al is just behind though, so ride on board with him as he heads up towards Maggots, turn 10. Then through turn 11, into turn 12, then turn 13, which is Beckett's, then turn 14, Chapel, back onto the Hangar Straight. They'll complete the middle sector. We'll now head up towards Stowe Corner. Entry speed 330 kilometers an hour. Coming out of Stowe, turn 15, up towards 16 and 17 that form the Vale chicane. And one corner remains, Club Corner, sending it round up towards the line. It's a 26.838. He's missed out on provisional pole by 1/10 of a second. Plevs making his way round. Are you on a push lap? It doesn't look like it from the telemetry. Ferrari Pro out on track, same with Luke. Darren is going to go back into the pits. He's on the medium compound tyre, so he's just trying to get his eye in right now. Not push too hard on the tyre. It's Potsy Bait is out on track. Kong is out on track as well. In fact, I think he might be the first of those on an outlap, getting ready for their second run in this qualifying session. At the top of the table, it's pretty close. We have 4 drivers in the 26s, and Jinbin is only 17 thousandths of a second from getting into the 26s, so it's pretty tight at the top. You do kind of expect that. I mean, this circuit is 5.9 kilometers long. It's a very fast racetrack, really high average speeds. Not too many slow corners around the racetrack, so you do expect close times. Additionally, this track is well used in league racing. Everybody's competed around here. Everybody knows how to extract lap time around here. As Con went onto the grass ever so briefly, going into Stowe, I should say. Not coming out to Stowe, going into Stowe. As he goes through the Vale chicane, 4th gear short shifting up to 5th. He'll make his way onto the Hamilton straight. Send it down towards turn 1. Oh, you're not the only one, Pato. I'm ridiculously slow around this circuit. Me and Silverstone, I love commentating here. Silverstone usually creates pretty exciting racing. Sometimes it can be a bit dull with the DRS trains. As a driver, though, I have never clicked with this racetrack. I have a very similar relationship with Interlagos where, you know, I adore the racetrack. I love Silverstone. I think it's a brilliant racetrack. One of the best in the world. But I've never done well around here. I've always had bad luck and I've never really had competitive pace to be towards the front of the field. I've always been in the mid-pack around here at Silverstone. Now, Cobb's corner. Fast corner. Absolutely ridiculous speeds through there. Then through the S's in the final part of the middle sector. 6th gear at the exit of 13, round 14. Then onto the hangar straight, up towards turn 15, Stowe corner. Konga's up by just under 1/10 of a second. Wogboy up by 2.5 tenths to the first sector. He's looking at a low 27. Kong spins. Does a perfect pirouette out of Stowe. And he'll go back into the pit lane. 10 out of 10 effort right there. A perfect spin. Unfortunately, he's got plenty of time left in qualifying. Try and have another go. F1 Ferrari Pro has just completed a lap. He's done a 27.1 effectively. Jinbin on the lap, up by 1/10 of a second to the middle sector. Goes around Stowe corner. Then up towards the Vale chicane. Hard on the brakes as Wogboy does a 27 flat. He is one of 3 drivers who have done a 27 flat. Can Jinbin go into the 26s? Yes, he can. P3 with a 26.8. Yeah, I see what you mean, Pato. The gearing does seem somewhat unrealistic compared to what the drivers do in real life. But that's a very common trope with just about any racetrack that we go to. The game and real life don't have many similarities whatsoever when it comes to the driving and the physics. I mean, we can go to a racetrack such as, I don't know, Spa. You go through the famous Pouon curve. We have to brake for it. You know, shift it down into 7th gear. Whereas in real life, the drivers, they just take a little tiny lift. And with all the downforce in the world, they fly around the corner, no problem. So yeah, it's frustrating, the differences between what it's like in real life and what it is in the game. G-force forward, up towards the line, 1 minute 26.669. He's taken provisional pole. Will he stay there though? Destiel on another flying lap is down to the first sector. Oh, not the best of runs, I think, through Luffield either. He'll head up towards Copse Corner, shifting it into 8th gear. Entry speed 314 kilometers an hour. Oh, lowest speed, I think, was 282 through Copse Corner. Ridiculous speeds through there. Through the S's we go. Into Beckett's, then Chapel, onto the hangar straight. He's up by 4 thousandths of a second. He needs to find a bit more time though through this final sector. On the brakes hard, down to 6th gear. Missed the apex, I reckon, by a little bit through Stowe, and he bails on the lap. So he wasn't too happy with that. He's bailed and he's gone back in. I didn't think that was a particularly great run there through Stowe. He missed the apex by about a foot, maybe a bit more. And yeah, just didn't get the rotation he wanted through turn 15. through the mid part of the lap for Big Al, our championship leader. Chucking it through the S's, down to 6th gear through Beckett's, and through Chapel onto the hangar straight. He's up by just over 1/10 of a second. So he's looking at a low 7 right now. Needs to find a bit more time to challenge G-Force Ford. Tidy run out of Stowe. 3 corners remain. First off the Vale chicane, down to 4th gear, back on the accelerator, short shifting up to 5th as ACW has joined the session. Around club corner, up towards the line for Al. It's not enough for pole, but he has jumped up onto the front row. 1 minute 26.703 beats Destiel's 1 minute 26.713. Hello ACW. Nice to see that you're reserving today. I'm sure you'll do quite well. Mr. Race Spec crosses the line, jumps up to P6. What do you know? Another 27 flat. 4 cars in the 27 zeros. We got Plez, we got Wogboy, we got Spicy and Ferrari Pro. Bags isn't too far away. Luke isn't too far away. You look at Leo, he's just within the 26s. Absolute ridiculousness in terms of the competitiveness in qualifying. It is so tight. Now we've got just under 4 minutes left in qualifying. Time is not on Plebs' side here. 3.5 minutes left. He's halfway round the racetrack, so it's going to cost him an extra 40 seconds until he reaches the pit lane entry. So he'll be pushing at, what, 2 minutes 40? And it'll take about 30 seconds for him to get back into his garage. So I think there might be a real chance that Plebs is out of qualifying here. I think he's done. Low on fuel. He hasn't gone into low fuel mode yet. Keep an eye on that clock. 3 minutes left. This is one of the perils of Silverstone Circuit. It's a lengthy track, 5.9 kilometers. It's one of the longest on the calendar. And he goes back into the pits with 2 minutes, 50 seconds left on the clock, and he's forwarded into pit lane. His teammate is leaving. That might cost him a little bit. Let's see. What are the Alpine mechanics up to? Where are they? They're waiting for him. Alright, so it shouldn't cost him any... Oh, that might. He stopped for whatever reason. Mercedes was leaving. That was Wogboy. Alright, so Plebs is back in. Oh, man, I think he's run out of time. It's going to get tight for Plebs. That's for sure. That is for sure. Luke out on track, his teammate in P11. To think about it, there are 5 positions separating the 2 Alpines. Okay, 5 positions. Less than a 10th and a half. Separates 5 places. Less than a 10th and a half separates 5 places. The midfield here, it is ridiculously competitive. It's fantastic to see. But this is what you come to expect with Silverstone. A well-known racetrack, really high average speeds. It means a competitive qualifying session. It also means a lot of hard work to try and make up for lost time. We'll see what Sire Luke can do. Out of club corner onto the Hamilton straight. With 1 minute and 30 seconds on the clock, he begins what could be his final flying lap attempt. Nice and tidy through turns 1 and 2. Into turn 3, Village. Short shifting up to 4th gear. Down to 3rd. Does he short shift again? Yes, he does. Very tidy through the opening sector. Out of Aintree and down the Wellington straight. Up towards the first sector split. And what do you know? Plebs has retired. He's up by 0.5 of a second. Now, Bags, where are you? You're about to begin. Ferrari Pro has begun his final flying lap attempt. Spicy on his final flying lap as well, making his way through turn 4. Very tidy, very sensible, as you'd expect from Spicy. Down the Wellington straight, up towards the first sector split. Clock says he's up by a fair chunk. He's found 2/10 to the first sector. He's looking at a high 26 here, just off that alone. Wogboy on a lap. Jinbin getting ready. Destiel getting ready. Al getting ready. Ford up by 1/10 to the first sector. He has found a fair chunk of time in the first sector. Out of Luffield, turn 7, he loses control. A great catch though, that would have cost him time. Up towards turn 9. Chucks it through Copse corner. 7th gear, using plenty of curb through the corner. Into the S's, through Maggots, turn 10, then turn 11, into the left of 12, around the right of Beckett's, turn 13, then turn 14. Back on to the hangar straight. He's now only up by 27 thousandths of a second. I'm sure 40 would be kicking himself about that. Big Al is up by 31 thousandths to the first sector. What about Destiel? Didn't quite catch that. We'll keep an eye on it though. Spicy's done a 26.8. He was on for a high 26. He's P4 right now. Jinbin's retired from the session. Ford crosses the line. Does not improve. He lost time in the final sector. Potsy's retired. Bags Liddell has jumped up to P2 with a 26.678. Where did that come from? Big Al making his way through the middle sector. Crossing the middle sector split. He's up by just under 1/10 of a second. With that sort of improvement, he can take pole. Out of the Val chicane goes Destiel. Around Club corner up towards the line. It's not enough. It's P4. Big Al. Oh, as Leo's jumped to the top, he's taken pole with a 26.643. Has Al got anything left? He does, but it's not enough. He misses out on pole by 14 thousandths of a second. You're kidding me. The top 4 separated by 35 thousandths of a second. Are you kidding me? 35 thousandths. Where did you come from? Just vaulted up to P2 out of nowhere and Leo out of nowhere. Recovered last minute. I'm sure 40 though would be kicking himself. He was up by a 10th to the first sector. Threw it away at the exit of Luffield and couldn't put the lap together right at the end. Did not improve. He is P3 for this British Grand Prix. What a ridiculous qualifying session. I have never seen anything this tight. The top 5 are separated by 7/100ths of a second. It will be GeForce Leo who will start from pole, with championship leader Big Al starting P2, 43rd, Bags 4th. Where did that come from? Destiel 5th, Spicy, nice recovery, P6, Jinbin 7th, Kong 8, Plevs qualifies in the top 10. Not too bad, he wasn't able to put a lap right at the end of qualifying. Wogboy P10, Ferrari Pro P11, Luke 12th, Bake 13th, Darren 14th, Mass Jr 15th, ACW does a 27.4, that's not bad for one lap, and Potsy will start from the back. Out of the competitive times, sorry competitive because ACW is quite a good driver, 7.5 tenths. Gee whiz. Not bad at all. 35 thousandths between the top 4. 7/100ths between the top 5. Unbelievable qualifying session. One of the best of the season. And of course it comes here at Silverstone. Some clouds about. You can see them off in the distance. But plenty of blue skies, so if we are going to get any rain interference, it won't be coming anytime soon. It's going to be nice and dry for the start of this Grand Prix. Fantastic. I'll be curious to see what we get in terms of strategy, because in the Elite Series race, just about everybody started on the hard compound tyre. It was everybody bar one who started on the mediums, and that one was actually AMS Kong, who was here in today's race. So maybe he'll start on the mediums again. Maybe everyone will start on the hards. I do not know. I have no idea. What I do know is that if you start on the hards, it is incentivized that you undercut onto the medium compound tyre. That usually works pretty well. The undercut here at Silverstone is quite strong, moving off the hards onto the mediums, and the mediums can last a while. But if you want to gain track position early, or maybe if you're at the front, you might want to try and pull away. Maybe then you want to start on the mediums. Let's see who's done what. And what do you know? It is a carbon copy of Elite. Everyone is on the hard tyres except for one. And that one driver, weirdly, is Plebs. This isn't a Plebs thing to do. He's usually a bit more on the conservative side when he comes to strategy, but he's on the medium compound tyre in P9. Literally smack bang in the middle of the field. He's on the mediums. In the in the middle part of the field, the medium part of the field, he's on the medium compound tyre. Everyone else around him, from 1st to 8th, then from 10th to 17th, are on the hard compound tyre. And there's Kong doing some rallycross as well, which you actually can do here at Silverstone. Not on the Grand Prix circuit though, it's over on the Stowe circuit, which is a much smaller circuit on the inside of the Grand Prix circuit. But yeah, it's a rallycross track that's actually used in the FIA World Rallycross Championship, or at least used to be. I haven't really followed World Rallycross in some time. There we are. Well, I don't think we need the tyre graphic anymore. Just need intervals. See the drivers weaving about profusely, trying to get temperature into their tyres. It's a really, really important thing to do. Make sure you got temp in those tyres, otherwise you're not going to go anywhere after the start. Weirdly enough, a couple of the drivers behind just taking it real easy, trying not to wear out their tyres. They're quite fine with the temperatures they've got, I suppose. Right, back onto the main straight. Now Leo will be lining up on the outside heading towards turn 1. It's the cleaner side of the racetrack, so he should theoretically get a better start. But as you can see, Al has the inside line, and if he gets the better start, well, he's got the whole shot heading up towards turn 1. Might be able to take the inside and take the lead heading out of the opening corner. Potsy's now lined up, ready to run. All 17 cars lined up, ready to race. We got 26 laps in front of us. We have 10 red lights. We're underway here at Silverstone. It's a nice start from Big Al. He'll get the whole shot down towards turn 1. It's a great start as well from GeForce Ford. Can't say the same for Bags Liddell. 3 wide through turn 1. 3 wide through turn 2. Heading up towards turn 3. Down the inside looks spicy. Chaos! Spin goes Jinbin. At turn 3, he tumbles down to last position. Contact again between... Oh, and more spinning. Oh, dearie me. Plevs is around, Kong's around, Jinbin will get a couple of places here. Yes. Oh, and a spin as well for Bait coming out of turn 5. Plenty of spinning going on. Gee whiz. Side-by-side action through Brooklands, around Luffield, turn 7. Ferrari Pro gets in front of ACW, who's had a nice start. Potsy's had a nice start as well in the Williams. Darren 11 in P12. Look at this pack. Hunting away, trying to find positions down the inside at Cop's Corner. You don't see that all too often. Williams gets in front and moves into P10. Darren round the outside of ACW takes P11, and ACW actually lets Match Junior through. He doesn't want a bar of it right now. Ah, drama at the start. We saw Jinbin get spun at turn 3. Then I believe it was Kong and Luke making contact at turn 4. That sent Kong around. Plev spun in front of that, and then Bait had his own spin at turn 5. He might have had contact, but I definitely did not see it. But plenty of carnage on the opening lap. Darren 11 and ACW are into the pits. They must be pitting for repairs. They must have damaged their front wings. But out in front, it's Big Al who leads. GeForce Leo in second, Ford in third. Then we have Destiel in P4, Spicy P5. In terms of the position change, Al up 1, Leo down 1. Ford hasn't gained or lost position. Destiel up 1, Spicy up 1. Oh, hang on, what's going on here? Bags Liddell has had an absolutely horrendous start to this British Grand Prix. Qualifying towards the front, he is now down in 8th place. Ferrari Pro and Potsy side by side through Luffield. Ferrari Pro has the nose in front. Oh, but Potsy has a great run out of left field through Woodcote. Can he drive it round the outside? He's going to try. It's tight. They both get through. Great driving by those two. Into Maggots, turn 10. Through turn 11. And through turn 12, Potsy gets in front. So the Williams moves up to P9. Ferrari Pro down to P10. Ferrari Pro is trying to fight back. Heading down the hanger straight. Up towards Stowe. On the brakes, down to 5th gear. Ferrari Pro overshoots the corner and doesn't have the grip to try and fight around the outside. He has to concede the battle and stay in 10th place. Oh, but Potsy's got a run out of turn 17. He is right on the back of Bags Liddell. Down the Hamilton straight. Through Abbey, turn 1. Then turn 2, a little bit wide there from Bags, that might have been a warning. Down the inside goes Potsy. They're wheel to wheel through turn 3, up towards turn 4. Bags keeping this fight alive. Nice, tidy driving, almost making contact through Aintree onto the Wellington straight. Bags has the inside line. Potsy, though, fires it round the long way. He'll give himself the inside line here at turn 7. But Bags is keeping this fight alive. Can't get the traction, though, at the exit of the corner. He concedes position. Potsy moves up into P8. Oh, and have a look at Ferrari Pro down the inside of Copse. He makes it work. Bags gave him room. And Bags lets off the throttle. He must be so frustrated right now. Qualified 4th. He's now down to 10th place. Absolutely horrendous start to his Grand Prix. Out in front though, Big Al leading the way. He has got 1.1 seconds in hand to G-Force Leo. That gap seems to be increasing a little bit. Can anyone challenge that fastest lap? No. So Big Al, fastest lap of the race with a 30.2. As we head up towards the village hairpin, we'll go back down to this because Luke, he's got company. Potsy closing in. He's got a run. He looks. Dives it in. Oh, it's tight through turn 3, but they get it through the corner without making contact. Out of turn 4, there is contact though. Wheel-to-wheel contact out of the loop. So here comes Potsy with DRS open. Got momentum. He looks to the inside. Fires it into Brooklands. Gets in front. Parks the bus. What a fine move right there. Absolutely superb overtake. Centered down the inside, parked the bus on the racing line, prevented Luke from going back down the inside at Luffield. Awesome stuff. I don't think this is over either. Ferrari Pro, 2/10 behind. Making his way through the S's here. He's got a run going. Does he have the straight line speed though? The drag race, Alpine versus Ferrari, and the Alpine is winning. Holy mackerel, that thing is quick in a straight line. But not through the corners, contact through Stowe. Up towards the Vale chicane. Bags Liddell just hovering behind as well in the Aston. Waiting for a moment. Oh, a bit of a wiggle there from Luke. Down the Hamilton straight. Into Abbey. Got the 7th gear. Through turn 2. Up towards turn 3. Ferrari Pro not close enough. Darren has left the session. Hopefully he'll be able to rejoin. Out of the loop. And around Aintree. Onto the Wellington straight. Watch the Alpine pull away just a little. Not by enough though. Ferrari Pro is still right there, right on his gearbox. Look at the closing speed. Holy mackerel. Thank goodness there wasn't contact. We head up towards Copse Corner. Got this really tightly compacted 4-car train with Luke right at the head of it. Oh, hang on. We got a battle on here. Through turn 10. They're side by side through 11. Someone has to concede. It's Bags Liddell. He now moves down to 11th position. He started from 4th. He's lost 7 places, now down to P11. Jinbin is on the recovery drive. Ferrari Pro down the inside at Stowe. Parks it on the racing line. He moves in front of Luke. He goes into P8. Can Luke fight back? No, is the answer. We got a leading train starting to form. We got Big Al at the front of it. GeForce Leo in P2. Ford here in P3. And Destiel just behind in 4th position. You saw the flashing light on the back of the Red Bull there, just appeared briefly, so Leo doesn't have a great deal of battery. I can say with confidence, Ford has a fair chunk of battery. He is low on fuel, but he should recover that. That's still pretty even with Ford. 14% on Leo's car. Big Al on 25. Mash Jr. is around. That is at the exit of turn 4, heading through turn 5. Here comes Bate. Oh, thankfully no contact. Bate moves through into 14. Yeah, Big Al down to 25% in terms of his battery life right now. And that's expected. He's at the front of the train, so he has to do all of the work. By doing all the work, you consume more energy. Don't have any DRS to try and recover some of the battery. So he's down to 25%. Leo, he's in single digits. He's pushing hard to try and either keep up with that, or maybe try and attack him. Ford's closing in though. He's got a lot of pace in that Ferrari. Demonstrated that through qualifying. He was set for a better lap, but just couldn't put it together. As Plez overtakes Kong, that is for P12. Down the Hamilton straight towards Abbey. Leo is close. But I don't think he has the pace to do anything just yet. You can tell he's used a lot of battery to try and keep this battle alive between himself and these three, but yeah, 40's doing much better in terms of battery. So is Destiel, as Plebs gets a 3-second time penalty. That's very unlike Plebs as well. A time penalty. 40 closing in. Well, not a great run through Brooklands there for Leo. Heading around Luffield. Much better, keeping his G-Force compatriot at bay. Around Woodcote, up towards Cobb's Corner. Destiel at the back here. And he has the opportunity to just save battery and watch the show, essentially. He can plan out his overtakes. Plan them out at the right time, execute it the right way. He can try and undercut his rivals as well. That might work. By pitting at least a lap earlier than those in front, then pushing on the medium tyre. Try and make something of it, just like this. Down the inside goes Leo. Can't make it work at Stowe. 40 closes in. Heading towards the Vale chicane. Ford looks, doesn't commit though. Stays behind Leo. He had a change in position as well. I think Ferrari Pro moved in front of Jimbin. Is that what I saw? Or was it Pozzi moving in front of F1 Ferrari Pro? Not sure. I did see a change of position though. Didn't quite catch exactly who it was. Around turn 3. Up towards turn 4. And Leo gets a tidy run. Very tidy, but so does Big Al. Al's going to be such a tough customer to pass. Yeah, he's too far behind the Alfa Romeo. Has to stay behind. Wogboy's got company. Here comes Pozzi to the inside. Yeah, no real challenge. Wogboy doesn't want to challenge. He'll stay behind Pozzi. Bags Liddell getting by Luke. That is for P10. As we head around Luffield. And up towards Woodcote we go. Luke, Plevs not a great start on the mediums. Down in P12. Didn't recover all that much after his spin on the opening lap, which is definitely less than ideal. Now, Logboy, I reckon, even though he might be in the position where he could counterattack, I don't think he will. He just wants to use DRS, keep up, save some battery, save some fuel. Yeah, he's not used a single bit of his battery down the hangar straight. So yeah, he just wants to stay behind, try and save a little bit. Back up to the leading group, shall we? Oh, not a great lap from Destiel. The gap has increased to 1 second between himself and Ford through turn 2. Not a board here with Leo. We'll hop into the meat of the sandwich here. This top 4 battle. Down the Wellington Straight. Leo closing in, but not affecting Al enough. Al is driving quite well. Reading the race, negotiating the pressure. Driving tidily. Luke gets by Liddell. That's at Brooklands, and I think Plebs is going to try and get involved. We head around Luffield. Plebs. He's too far behind, I think. Cole gets a time penalty. Here he comes, though. Gee whiz, the Alpines are quick. Down the inside of Cops, he gets in front. Liddell will try and fight back, though. Oh, but the straight line speed of the Alpine keeps Plebs in front. He moves into P11. Where did that come from? That overspeed in those Alpines is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Here comes Plebs on his teammate down the inside at Stowe. He moves through into P10. Destiel sets a new fastest lap, so he's turned on the battery, done a bit of hard work, and closed back up to the top 3. Here comes the midfield train making their way down the Hamilton Straight. Ferrari Plaro, were you close enough? No, is the answer. And I don't think he'll be able to do anything down the Wellington Straight, considering the car in front of him has DRS. This is what I was talking about during the introduction. You get these DRS trains forming, and when you're in the middle of them, it is almost impossible to make moves. Especially here at Silverstone. Tidy run from Ferrari Pro out of Luffield. C14 just pulling away a little bit. Just enough to keep Ferrari Pro at bay. Ford with pace. Can he find a way by his compatriot? At the moment, the answer is no. See Al moving to the left-hand side of the circuit, trying to break the slipstream. But thanks to the sheer power of DRS, Leo closes the gap up. They're still just hovering behind. Again, a little bit worse in terms of battery compared to Ford, but they're about even. Onto the Hamilton Straight we go. It's now lap 11, and I can't help but feel we're getting close to the pit window. I can't help but feel we're getting close to the pit window. Where drivers might be tempted to undercut big time on the medium compound tyre. Yellow's out. Bags Liddell is out of the Grand Prix. What a shame. He's put it into the wall down the Hamilton Straight, and the safety car has been deployed. Well, that answers my question, doesn't it? The pit window has come. Everybody will be pitting on this lap. If you don't, well, you wasted an opportunity for a pit stop. Everyone will be boxing, and I mean everyone. What a crying shame after such a fantastic qualifying session to throw it away in the barrier like that. Oh, he was looking very good out there. Bags, even after the poor start, he was still mixing it up in the midfield. Jinbin, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Oh, what a shame. Big Al will come into the pits. It's not like they won't. Everyone's in. Everyone's in. Now, I wonder if anyone will gain from the pit stop. Will anyone gain or lose position here? I suppose we'll find out. Go here at the back so we can see everything happening. From Destiel's POV. So there goes Ford. Ferrari Pro, a severe collision with Walkboy. Heading into the pits, I see. Had to be heading into the pits. Bait, a 5-second time penalty for speeding. Alright, so nobody gains or loses position. In terms of the top 4 at least. Double stack for Jin Bin. Oh dear. That won't help him at all. So Ferrari Pro, 5-second time penalty. Yeah, your quali lap was pretty good, eh? Gee whiz. Came out of nowhere. It glitched? How did it glitch? You were only at 10th off. Then how did you gain time? Oh, okay. Well, I haven't heard of that one before, where you can glitch the end of your lap and get a better time. It must have glitched when I crashed across the line. So what, the clock stopped when you crashed, and then you gained time out of it? I see. Yeah, right. I've never heard of that. So yeah, the timer must have ended when you crashed, but when you crossed the line, it registered the lap time. That had to have been how it done it. So you crashed just before the line, because I did notice you crashed car, but I thought you must have done it after the line. So what you must have done is crash before the line, the clock ended when you crashed and retired, but when you crossed the line, the time actually registered. Whoa, what's going on here? What's Bait up to? Oh, he's in. The Bait is going back into the pits. Or something. Because the medium should make it from here. What is he doing? Is it front wing? Oh, he's serving a time penalty. That's right. Time penalty for speeding. I remember. So he's getting that removed. That's very smart. Getting rid of the time penalty during a safety car period. Just bite the bullet, get to the back, and now you're on even ground again. Nah, that's something I would do. It's very smart. Because yeah, you can serve 5-second time penalties during safety car periods. But yeah, no, thanks for telling me, Bags, because, yeah, that was quite a lap that you posted. I'm like, wow, what an effort. But still, it's disappointing to see what happened to you after the fact. Just plummeted down and eventually crashed out in the same spot where you crashed in qualifying. So, but yeah, I've never heard of that. Yeah, I was surprised. I think my first reaction was, where did he come from? And then Leo jumps to the top. And it was just more of, where did he come from? Just like these guys out of nowhere just vaulting up to first, second. Just like, wow, what an end to qualifying. Oh. Alright. Safety car is going back into the pits. Big Al will control the field. Everyone is on medium compound tyres except for Plevs. He's on the hards. We'll get rid of that. We'll get the time penalties up so we can have a gaze at these. We'll let Big Al control this restart. Luke has spun. That is at the entry to the final corner. That's weird. Through the Vale chicane. Oh, tidy run through club corner. No hint of oversteer at all. He's got half a second in hand to GeForce Leo. We're back on the green flag racing here at Silverstone. We're at the halfway mark. It's lap 14 of 26. Through the opening, 2 hairpins on the racetrack. Oh, Potsy's made a move on Spicy. Battling out of the loop. Gets in front and into P5. Wogboy, close. Not close enough though to try and battle Spicy into Brooklands. But no, a pretty tidy restart. Pat on the back to everybody in the race. Very tidy stuff. Very good to see. Keep our eyes at the front, shall we? Big Al maintaining the lead, maintaining the half-second gap that he had on the restart. See the sparks flying from underneath the cars as they exit Copse Corner. Sparks flying again as they go through the S's. As the floor scrapes along the tarmac. Down the hanger straight towards Stowe. Destiel's close. Not close enough, I'm afraid, to attack into Stowe. Now Potsy is going to get involved in this fight. Potsy demonstrated a great deal of pace during the opening phase of the race, and he's been given an opportunity to try and fight for a win. And he definitely has that opportunity in him. Performed quite well in Saudi Arabia. He'll be looking to perform well here. Helps as well that he doesn't have a time penalty next to his name. Through turns 1 and 2 into turn 3. And around turn 4. Oh, an awkward moment there from Destiel. Very weird line through turn 4 as ACW and Bate battle for position in P14 and 15. Yeah, Potsy ain't close enough. Oh, Ferrari Pro on the back of Wogboy. Can he find a way through? So deep on the brakes through Luffield. Can you two... Oh, you're still battling. Gee whiz, they're side by side coming out of Luffield. Bate trying to fight around the long way. ACW though with the inside line gets in front. Bate conceded the position because going side by side through Copse Corner is not a good idea. A bit wide there from ACW. That might be a warning. I'm not sure. The game can be a bit lenient in regards to that. Through turn 12 into turn 13. Then the left of turn 14. Onto the hanger straight. Ferrari Pro gets by Wogboy. Wogboy doesn't put up too much of a fight. The Ferrari Pro into P7. Wogboy down to 8th. And in front though, 8.5 tenths is the gap between the top two. Big Al sets a new fastest lap with a 29.4. Through turn 1 into turn 2. DRS is now enabled. And everyone will have it except for Big Al. Poor Big Al. Literally everyone is within a second of each other. What's Plevez up to? What's Jinbin up to? Oh, we have an incident here. Kong, Jinbin, side by side, through turn 5. Mash is going to get involved, almost making contact at the exit of Aintree. Down the Wellington Straight. Darren 11 closes in, looks to the inside. Fires it down the inside of Mash Jr. Can't get it done though. Through Luffield, turn 7. Mash, he is very close. Oh, contact between Mash and Darren. Through goes Darren into 12th. Through goes ACW into 13th. Mash falls to 14th position. Oh, it's tight towards Copse, but they work it out. Get back into single file. Mash down in 14th place now. ACW on the back of Darren 11. Through the S's we go. Out of 13, around 14. ACW, is he quick enough? Don't think so. He's too far behind Darren to try and attack. Through Stowe Corner. Tidy run. Very tidy. Bate gets by Mash. Mash down to 15th. Yellows! What's going on here? It's Bate. Bate is around at turn 16. He falls down to, ironically, 16th position. Big Al maintaining the lead, and he's got 9 tenths in hand to GeForce Leo. That's a promising gap between the top two. Ford using a bit of battery. Destiel, he has a bit more battery in comparison. And there's Potsy in P5, just minding his own business at the back of the train, it seems. I wonder how aggressive he'll get when the laps tick down and we get closer to the checkered flag. There's a 3-car fight for P6. We have Spicy, Ferrari Pro and Wogboy. Ferrari Pro with a 5-second time penalty though. Oh, the gap. The gap, the gap, the gap. It's over 1 second between Al and Leo. Leo needs to get a hustle on through the S's here. He gets back within a second. He's outside of it. Back in it. Back in it. I think he's got it. No, he does not. He does not have DRS. So he dumps the rest of his battery to close in on Al. No, the DRS was firmly shut, but he still gained a fair chunk of time. I wonder if it's the visual glitch where the car does actually get DRS, but I don't get to see it. Because he closed in a fair chunk. Set a new fastest lap as well. Yeah, he had to have DRS, surely. Had to. Yellow, 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 it's Jimbin. Oh, and he's around again. Facing the wrong way. He now faces the right way as Bate goes by into 15th. Remember, the top 15 score points here on Race Spec, so that is 1 point for Bate, and I can tell you 1 point is better than 0 points. Through Brooklands up towards Luffield. 7/10 is the gap. Oh, what can Leo do in this particular situation? He's used up so much battery. It's going to be really tough for him to close in on Big Al. Through Cops. Leo doing everything he can to try and catch up. 40 in P3. Still got plenty of battery. So does Death Steel. Yeah, Peltry's got a little bit. Just enough, I'd say. I mean, he's looking at a big finish here regardless, and I think he'll be happy with that. Maybe he can hope for another time penalty for one of the other drivers. Jinbin is out of the race. He's retired at turn 11 and hasn't brought out the safety car. Interesting. That did not bring out a safety car. Strange. I thought for certain I was going to bring one out, but it hasn't, as Darren has disconnected from the session again. Hopefully he'll be able to rejoin. Down the Wellington Straight towards Brooklands turn 6. Leo's close, but it's not close enough. Doesn't have the battery, doesn't have the outright pace to try and battle Big Al. Ford's still got a fair chunk of battery. Luke gets by the AI of Darren 11. Moves through into P12. Actually minding his own business in P5. Back to this. Pro just not quite close enough to do anything just yet. Wogboy's got some pretty decent pace right now. Can he look to try and find a way through? Darren has rejoined the session. Good to see. Down the hangar straight. Leo's closing in. He won't close in by enough though to attack into Stowe. Mash gets by the AI of Darren 11. Through Stowe goes P6, 7 and 8. Pro just not close enough to do anything. Same with Wogboy. The margins are so fine around this circuit that even if you're 2/10 behind the car in front, it's so difficult to try and make a move. Seems that Potsy has made some sort of mistake. The gap has increased to just over a second, and I don't think he'll get DRS here. As I think Darren has taken control of his car again. I saw the leaderboard flicker. That's usually an indication that the driver has rejoined, taken control again. Ford still with plenty of battery. What's his game plan? When will he attack? When will he dump the battery? Leo with only 6% now. Al with 25. It's all about timing now. Al's got the track position. He knows what he needs to do. He has studying that he needs to do for us. Down the hangar straight, he's dumping the battery, he's going for it now. Down the inside at Stowe. He's got the nose in front, but Leo swoops round the long way to try and keep position. Ford, he can't battle around the outside of turn 16. He stays behind in P3. Well, he dumped a fair chunk of the battery there to try and make a move. It did not work. Destiel has dumped a fair bit as well. He's down to 22%. And now Potsy's back in this. He's within a second of the top 4. But Leo, he's not giving up. He's not going to let Ford through. He wants to try and battle out, but does he have the pace? DRS Open heading up towards Brooklands, turn 6. Chucks it through the left-hander up towards turn 7. Destiel right on the back of Ford. Ford pulls away at the exit of Luffield through Woodcote up towards turn 9. Through Cops Corner. Drivers just keeping within the margins. Through 10, into 11. Round the left of turn 12. Up towards turn 13. Short shifting up to 6th gear. Kong gets a 3-second time penalty. Down the hanger straight we go. Ford's a bit too far behind. Destiel's close. He's dumping the battery. Not close enough though to attack into Stowe. Ferrari Pro getting by Spicy. Spicy moves down to 7th. ACW gets by Kong. He moves into P10. Oh, Leo has crashed. Oh my word, he has crashed. How have you ended up here? Is that a VSC? I think that might be a VSC deployed. I don't see the yellow dot anywhere. But how in the blue blazes did you end up here? Lost control out of 17? And then the steering snapped on you? I have no idea. That's a shunt. I'd say it'd be something like that, a humongous overcorrection, but just how do you overcorrect that much to end up in the barrier? Oh, here's some gimmicks. In neutral, revving the car out. He's trying to save battery. Okay, that's a nice little gimmick in F122 that even I've learned. Okay, you put the car into neutral and you rev the thing out. It recharges the battery so quickly. DRS is enabled. We're back on the green flag racing here at Silverstone. Through the S's we go. The gap is half a second. Luke, a 3-second time penalty. But now Al has got a fair chunk of battery. 50% compared to 40, compared to 38. Measly 5% for Potsy. Oh dear. Spicy closing in. Looks to the inside here at Stowe. They're side by side through turn 15. Ferrari Pro keeps the nose in front. Keeps P5. Great battling there. Yellow's out. It's Bate who has spun at Luffield. Down the main straightaway. We have 4 laps to go here at Silverstone. 0.4 of a second is the gap between the top 2 as Potsy gets a 3-second time penalty. He's now on the same amount of penalties compared to Destiel. So now those two are genuinely battling for position. Tidy run out of turn 4, round turn 5. DRS open up towards turn 6. 4.5 is the gap. Ford closes in just by a little bit to Big Al. They head around turn 7, Luffield. 4th gear on the exit, using plenty of curve, a bit of battery as well. Al, same amount of battery. They're in the 40s. This is going to be a tight fight towards the finish of the Grand Prix. Out of Cops Corner, towards Maggots, turn 10, through turn 11, turn 12, Beckett's turn 13, then turn 14 as Kong gets a 3-second time penalty. Dust is flung up into the air as the drivers cut through the grass through Chapel. 4 tenths, 3.5 3 tenths is the gap going through Stowe. Tidy run from Al out of Stowe into the Val chicane, down to 4th gear, clipping the first apex, clipping the second apex, short shifting up to 5th gear. He'll head around the final corner, back onto the Hamilton straight. It's 3 laps to go here at Silverstone. Through turn 1, into turn 2. Then up towards the hairpin at turn 3. Yellow's out. I think that's Bate getting out of the way. It is. He's trying to get out of the way of the leading cars. He's trying to set fastest lap. He's trying to snag an extra point, which is a smart thing to do. Down the Wellington Straight towards Brooklands. Down through the gears. Down to 5th gear through turn 6. Around Luffield, turn 7. 33%. 46%, 41%, 10% and a wiggle from Potsy. A huge wiggle. Through Cops. Up towards Maggots and Beckett's once again. 40, what is he planning? Is he planning a last lap charge at Big Al? He's got the DRS advantage. He's got a slight battery advantage as well. But Big Al has controlled this race. He's led pretty much every single lap of this Grand Prix. He's not put a foot wrong. He's not going to put a foot wrong in these final 2 laps. 40 will have it all to do to try and pass the Alfa Romeo. The gap increases to 0.6. It now ducks back down to half a second. 2 laps to go. The gap between the top 2 is fluctuating. They're so evenly matched at the front of the field. Darren moves up to position as, well, Junior is in, and so is Kong. They're into the pits. They're going to try and get fastest lap, I'm guessing. Bit of a wiggle out of the loop. A teeny weeny mistake. It draws Ford closer. The gap is 3.5 tenths going through Brooklands. Up towards Luffield, turn 7. Nice and tidy. From the 2 leaders, Destiel losing a little bit of touch. His battle is with Potsy, and Potsy is closing in. Potsy's not going to give up. If there's an opportunity, I reckon he'll go for it. Gap is 2 tenths now, 3 tenths. What's Ford going to do? Through the S's now. 7th gear, down to 6th gear. Modulating throttle, down to 5th. Short shifting up to 6th. Through Chapel. Onto the hangar straight for the second last time. Ford is closing the gap. He will go for a move, surely. Down the inside, heading towards Stowe. Ford takes the lead, but this battle is anything but over. Spicy gets by Ferrari Pro. That's for P5. Remember, Ferrari Pro has that 5-second time penalty next to his name. What's Ford going to do? It's the last lap. Lap 26 of 26 here at Silverstone. The final 5.9 kilometres of this British Grand Prix. Out of turn 2, up towards turn 3. Al's not close enough to do anything here. He will get DRS help though. Heading out of Aintree. Out of the loop goes Ford. Now through Aintree. Oh, that's a really tidy run from Ford. Is Al quick enough to close the gap up sufficiently? The answer is no. He's 3.5 tenths back. As 40 played a masterstroke right at the end of this Grand Prix. Out of Luffield, turn 7. He's got grip, he's got speed right now. He's going to use a little bit of the battery he's saved. The gap increases just a little bit to half a second as they go through Cobb's corner. Potsy is close. He's running wide. But he is close. He's right there on the back of Destiel. The battle for third is not over. Al's losing time. He doesn't have the pace. 40's got battery in hand. He can spend all of it now. Down the hangar straight. What an absolute masterclass in terms of patience and strategy. Saved up the right amount of battery and used it at the right time. 40's played a perfect game here at Silverstone. Al's led so many laps, but he won't lead the final one. It's Ford who wins the British Grand Prix. Al comes home in second. Destiel will complete the podium places in third. Potsy gave it all he had. It wasn't enough. It's P4. A fine effort. Up 13 places, easily the driver of the day. Spicy, home in the top 5. Wogboy P6, followed by Plebs in 7th. In truth, that's a really nice recovery there for Plebs after what happened early in the race. ACW from 16th finishes 8th. Ferrari Pro 9th. Darren 11's AI, it seems, finishes 10th. Followed by Cy Luke, Mesh Jr., AMS Kong, and bait. Oh, as Kong spins, puts it into the wall. Just a little thank you spin to all the British crowd. Man, oh man. What an interesting race we've had here at Silverstone. Another little spin there. Much better than the first one. Must admit. And I reckon he'll do one more at the line. Just to show his appreciation. Ready, here we go. Oh. Lovely. And he'll cross the line backwards. Lovely. Showmanship right there from AMS Con. Top notch. Come on, give it to him. Yeah, I thought as much. Gained 13 places. Started well back. Finished in 4th. Not a bad effort at all. Not a bad effort from this guy as well. G-Force Ford winning the British Grand Prix. Put together a fine effort right at the end of the race. Al led so many laps. Like I said, he didn't lead the last one. He'll come home in 2nd. Destiel will come home in a fine 3rd. The unofficial results then of the British Grand Prix. G-Force Ford is our race winner by a little over half a second to Big Al in P2, with Destiel coming home in 3rd. From 17th to 4th, driver of the day goes to Potsy in the Williams, followed by Spicy in P5, then Wogboy in P6. Plebs recovered to a fine P7. ACW from 16th, finished 8th. And we have F1 Ferrari Pro in 9th, Darren 11th and 10th. Followed by Luke, Mash Jr., Kong, and Bait, our final finisher in 14th. Keyforce Leo retiring at the end of that one. Unlucky there. Jinbin and Bags Liddell also retiring from the race. We'll get Mr. Ford in here. We can have a chat. Let's see here. There we are. We'll leave the session. We move through into the virtual showroom. Hello, Mr. Ford.
Hello, Lane. Hello.
Not a bad effort, buddy. Winner of the British Grand Prix.
We'll take that, yeah.
We'll take that, he says. Yeah. Well, you pulled off a masterclass right at the end there. Used the right amount of battery at the right time. You made it work.
Yeah, I just drove fast, I think, on that final lap.
Yeah, I think a lot of us would have drove, probably would have drove very freaking quickly on that final lap just to make sure. But, yeah, no, you must be pretty stoked with that one.
Yeah, honestly, it kind of came from nowhere. I wasn't really expecting to win tonight. Didn't really put any practice in really before this race, by a late series, but you know, that was more of a spinning session than driving. So yeah, you know, I think I got on 5 minutes before the race, and that was that really. Yeah, just kind of maybe took the stress away a little bit from the race. Just more like a drive instead of a race, I guess.
Yeah, it allowed you to drive naturally, I suppose. You know,
yeah,
didn't have to think about it. It's just you doing you things behind the wheel. So,
yep.
No, fair enough. That's very fair. But qualifying, first off, how did that go? I mean, you just missed out on pole, and I reckon you were on for a pole lap right at the end there.
Yeah, it's a shame. I think I probably was. I was up by a tenth in the first sector, but sometimes doing that puts a bit of pressure on into the second and third sectors.
Yeah.
And I made quite a big mistake coming out of is it, what's the one before Cops? Luffield?
Luffield. Then
Luffield, I think,
Woodcote.
yeah. The long right-hander, Luffield, yeah. I made quite a big mistake coming out of there, lost a lot of time, and then, from there I couldn't really just get that time back, so... to be, I think it was 200ths off pole, and starting on the second row was pretty tough. But yeah, it was a very close qualifying session, which is good to see. It meant the race, it was obviously going to be quite close if it stayed like that. So yeah, no, it was good to see how close qualifying was.
And ultimately, that prediction came true. It was really tight towards the front. It looked like a four-car fight throughout the opening stint between yourself, Al, Destiel, and GeForce Leo. What was sort of the mindset in the opening stint of the race?
Just follow, really. I didn't really have many issues with that. I would have liked to try and get in front of Leo into second before the pit windows, if possible, but he drove quite well. So yeah, third it was. I know that second's obviously the place you want to be in.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it was quite difficult to overtake, as you know, when you're a DRS trainer and you're not second. Yeah, for myself and Destiel, it was quite difficult. So I think just saving battery, trying to minimise the warnings, although I got 2. Yeah, it was just kind of, stay behind them, make sure I don't lose it, I guess.
Yeah. Now, you made the decision to start on the hard compound tyre for this Grand Prix. When the safety car came out on lap 11, it was a bit of a no-brainer, wasn't it, to pit to the mediums?
Yeah, it was a free pit stop, everyone, pretty much. Mediums could make it to the end from there, so it kind of took out any excitement from overcuts or undercuts, which I probably would have tried to go for the overcut, but yeah, I guess didn't have to worry about that. So yeah, turned out to be, I guess, a 25% race compared to a 50% race.
I suppose, yeah, 2 25%ers back to back. Sort of what it turned into. Interesting you say overcut. Do you feel from experience that the overcut is better compared to the undercut?
I think so, yes. I think on Sunday as well, I got a bit of an overcut on the guys, just looking at the times. So yeah, I probably just would have done, in all honesty, whatever the guys in front didn't do.
Okay.
So yeah, if they pit a lap earlier or something like that, stay out. If they go later, probably pits. Yeah, I would have preferred the overcut though. Yep.
Fair enough. But no, the safety car took that out of the equation. It just turned into a sprint race, as you mentioned. But you were battling away still with Leo. Noticed you two going through Stowe Corner side by side. It was quite a spectacular sight to see. And then Leo just spins off and smashes into the barrier. What happened? I didn't catch it.
I just lost traction going into the final corner, which was a shame because he drove quite well. He was able to pull Al back into DRS even when he had no battery. So I think Leo's pace was quite good. He kind of, I think he just probably made too many mistakes when it mattered most, in terms of like getting close to Al and then maybe making a mistake and probably not going for an overtake when he could have. But otherwise, yeah, his pace was probably the best on track, I'd say. He was driving really well, so it's a shame, but yeah, he just made a big mistake going into the final corner.
Yep. And that gave you the opportunity to battle Al for the race win. There's also a virtual safety car period that came out from that. I was expecting a safety car. I wasn't expecting
it probably should have been full course. It was quite a big crash, but yeah.
Yeah, it was a hell of a shunt. But I was noticing Al, he was using the neutral gimmick to try and save up some battery. Did you notice he was going quite slowly out of Luffield?
I noticed it was going slow, but I thought it was just trying to burn. I didn't realise that revving your engine also gave you more ARS as well, especially neutral. So
yeah, stick it in neutral and rev the thing. You gain so much battery.
Yeah, I figured he was definitely burning quite a bit though. I could kind of tell every single straight we jumped onto, he'd pull away maybe a tenth or two, and it's quite unnatural for a car just to do that. So I was happy for him to do that. I was saving ARS just being in his DRS. So yeah, I wasn't really too concerned. In the grand scheme of things, but yeah, I didn't realise that obviously saved your battery.
Yep, no, I've learned that gimmick at least a month ago, watching Mr. Martinez, Top 97. I picked that up from him. And I tried it out. I'm like, oh my god, this is actually a thing.
But yeah, I don't know how efficient it is or anything like that. But yeah, if it works, it works.
Trust me, if you do it in a quality, like if you do a proper flying lap, you're low on battery, you got a sector left, stick it in neutral and rev the thing. You'll see the battery just, it so quickly recharges, it's insane. So yeah, I recommend giving it a go. But
Okay, next time.
With a lap to go, so you were on lap 25, you went for the move at Stowe. Were you confident that was the right time to go?
Yeah, I had I had quite a bit of battery, which obviously helps, but I wasn't too concerned that he'd be close enough the next lap in the same position to try to get me. If you have about 5 tenths on that straight, even 4 tenths, you should be sweet if you have the same amount of battery as they do as well. So I had about 40%, 50% battery on the final lap, and I wasn't going to use any of it until about Cops, which I didn't. So yeah, the DRS just really isn't strong enough on this game, I don't think. So yeah, I was pretty comfortable leading on to Maggots and Beckett's that, I'd get the job done from there once I saw it was about 6 tenths.
Fair enough, mate.
Yeah, it's just it's a shame. If it was a little bit stronger, I think the race would be a lot more exciting. Even like in the early stints of the race, to help myself or people in third to overtake second or first in the DRS train, because you just can't do anything really. So
yeah,
it's a shame. I feel like it was probably it didn't seem too boring maybe for you, but yeah, for me, just following it is quite a boring circumstance to be in. But yeah, I guess it's going to excite at the end.
Yeah, that's right. You sort of have to build it up.
Just wait. Yeah, that's it.
You know the moment it's coming. You just got to work out who's involved, who's going to try and go when, and then it all just kind of explodes on the final lap. But it didn't really explode here because you timed it well enough and you had the right amount of resources to make sure that Al really couldn't do anything in P2. So, no, I mean, in fairness, part of the boringness was you executing the final laps pretty much perfectly.
That's it. You just, as you said, building up to it, making sure that you're, gonna do it right, because you only get one shot at it.
And you took that shot and you executed it, like I said, perfectly. I don't think you could have done that any better. But
thank you.
One final question for you before I let you go. Next week we're heading over to Le Castellet, Circuit Paul Ricard. This might be our final time going here. What are your thoughts heading into next week's race?
I don't mind the track. It's got a nice flow to it, I think, especially in an F1 car. So yeah, I don't mind it. I think I'm quite quick there. I won last season there. So yeah, maybe the same thing. I don't know. It depends how quick these other guys are, or close it is, because tonight was good racing.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And best of luck then for next week's race. But for now, congratulations on winning the British Grand Prix. Well done.
Thank you, Lane. Cheers.
Quick shout out as well. We'll go from third. Destil, fine performance today. 3-second time penalty holds everybody back. And unfortunately, you had one today. If you didn't have that, I reckon you'd be scrapping for second, or maybe even the win. You had the same amount of battery that 40 had throughout the majority of that race, so I reckon you could have pulled off potentially a miracle and went to the win. But yeah, penalties, man, they suck. It sucks for me, and it sucks for the people watching as well, knowing that we could have a really big battle going on, and we know it ultimately means nothing because time penalties just play a factor. But still, GG's for hanging on to P3 and for keeping Potsy at bay. Potsy looked really aggressive right at the end of there. He was giving it everything, but you hung on pretty well. So congrats on the P3. And to Big Al as well, big effort. Led, I think, 24 of the 26 laps of that Grand Prix. It was a faultless drive out in front. Just didn't lead the final 2 laps, I'm afraid. That's how it goes. You have to lead the most important laps. And unfortunately, you couldn't. But still, second is big. You're going to extend your lead in the Drivers' Championship. You're going to be relatively untouchable unless bad things happen in the following races, which I just kind of doubt. You've been on fine form all the way through. The only bad thing that's happened to you was the DC at Barcelona that I can think of off the top of my head. So Unlucky, I suppose, not getting the win. It was a fine performance all the way through the race, but second place is more than deserved, so well done for achieving that. But I think, folks, with everything said and done, it's now time for us to end the stream. Not a bad one, I'd say, here at Silverstone. Had a dramatic and quite fantastic qualifying session with some tight battling through the race and an interesting conclusion, which is a very, very solid round. Yeah, a solid round all up. But yeah, I think with everything said and done, it's now time for us to wrap up the stream. I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you everyone so much for watching. And we'll see you next week for round 11 of the championship at Circuit Paul Ricard for the French Grand Prix. What could be our last French Grand Prix. I suppose only time will tell. Until then, it's goodbye.